Ladies and gentlemen in Terra Luna Classic, it seems like the SEC has done the impossible, trying to destroy the United States from being able to participate in the cryptocurrency space, but specifically targeting Terra Luna Classic's founder Kwon for defrauding investors in crypto schemes. As always, we're a validator on the Terra Luna Classic blockchain. You want to support the chain? Let's talk about this because this is a big press release. I mean, it's big news. You know, Terra Luna Classic now in the news, again as the SEC charging Terraform Labs and CEO Kwon with defraud investors in crypto schemes. Now, one thing I've got in terms of concerns is, how in the world is Kwon going to fight this? Because, I mean, as far as I know, this guy's in Serbia or he's in some other country, we have no idea. But he's not gonna go to the United States for this, let's be honest. So, I mean, this feels like you're just beating a dead horse. I mean, he can't even respond to this. Maybe he can. Maybe he could send someone there. Maybe there's another Kwon out there, but in terms of that case, I don't really know how they're gonna fight this. But anyway, let's read this. So the SEC today charged Singapore-based Terraform Labs, PTE, whatever, Limited and Kwon with orchestrating a multi-billion-dollar crypto as securities fraud involving algorithmic stablecoins and other crypto asset securities. I love this. I love how petty the SEC is. They go, oh yeah, Luna Classic, Luna 2. They're both securities. And you know what? If you're really calling Luna a security, you may as well call every single crypto asset of security. It is ridiculous for them to even fathom that we would pass the how we test with flying colors. It just makes absolutely no sense that these baseless allegations are being put out from the US Securities and Exchange Commission. But I guess we'll just keep going. According to the SEC complaint from April 2018 until the schemes collapsed in May 2022, schemes collapse. Terraform and Kwon raised billions of dollars from investors by offering and selling an interconnected suite of crypto assets, securities, many in unregistered transactions. These included asset security-based swaps designed to pay returns by marrying the price of stocks of US companies and Terra USD. Crypto asset security referred to as an algorithmic stablecoin. Stablecoin are not securities. I don't know why they keep going after them as securities. They're decentralized. They have no promise of returns. Ridiculous. That's supposedly maintained. It's pegged to the US dollars by being interchangeable for another of the defendants. Crypto asset securities Luna. The like further alleges that Terraform and Kwon offered and sold investors other means to invest in the crypto empire, including the crypto as security tokens, mirror tokens in Luna itself. What I don't understand, why do they allege that these things are securities? They don't explain how it's a security. They just say, oh yeah, you know, these are security tokens. Can we sue the no joke? Like, can people sue? This is a question. Can people just sue the SEC for misinformation here? This is ridiculous. I mean, how do you argue this? So the SEC complaint, I guess that's why the XRP case is going on, right? The SEC complaint alleges that Terraform and Kwon marketed crypto asset securities to investors seeking to earn a profit, repeatedly claiming that the tokens would increase in value. For example, they touted and marketed UST as a yield-bearing stablecoin when they advertise as paying as much as 20% interest through the Anchor protocol, which was correct. I mean, it did give a 20% interest through Anchor protocol and it was yield-bearing. I mean it's kind of funny how you say that. But one could argue that the US dollar is yield-bearing because guess what? You've got bank accounts out there and they give interest and they give you yield for just having money out there. So if you want to allege that USC yield-bearing is a security, well, you've got to argue, well, I guess the US dollar is a security, but in general it's like it. It's ridiculous. This is such a straw man's argument. Anything that gives yield is just the security to these guys. Anything that gives you anything, even if it wasn't the original company doing it. By the way, like us, is completely decentralized. Kwon did not own. The reason that UST collapsed in the first place was because Kwon did not have full control over the UST. That's exactly why this collapsed in the first place. So this is something that is completely out in the open. You can't really, it's ridiculous. We allege that Terraform and Kwon failed to provide the public with full, fair, truthful disclosure as required for a host of crypto asset securities. They're not the host. Terraform Labs and Kwon were never the host of UST, they were simply the people that created it. And that's it. It's over with. That's completely up to the public to decide what they even want to do with this thing. but most notably for Luna Ontario. Steve, we also allege that they committed fraud by repeating false and misleading statements to build trust before causing devastating losses for investors. They didn't cause the devastating losses. The other centralized players caused the devastating losses for investors. I commend the SEC hardworking staff who remained vigilant in such an important investigation, even when the defendants attempted to prevent us from updating important information about their business. This case demonstrates the lens to which some crypto firms will go to avoid complying with the securities laws, but also demonstrates the strength and commitment to the SEC. Okay, today's actions not only hold the defendants accountable for the roles in terrorist collapse, which devastated both retail and institutional investors and sent shockwaves through the crypto markets, but once again highlights that we look to the economic realities of an offering, not the labels put on it. So I don't think UST was necessarily an offering as alleged in our complaint. The Terraform ecosystem was neither decentralized nor finance. It was simply a fraud propped up by a so-called algorithmic stablecoin, the price of which was controlled by the defendants, not any code, while the code actually ended up putting money into the polls to make it a reality. This is a really interesting one though. I mean, if you wanted to think critically about this, they're kind of right. Like I was thinking through this video, the US dollars of security, UST, if it's supposed to be yield-bearing, same concept. I guess you could argue it's a security, but then you could grab an asset that isn't yield-bearing, right? And you could just add yield-bearing to it, right? You find a way to be like, okay, well if you lend this asset, we'll give you some yield. Would that just make it a security because someone else decides to add that utility on it? It's a really interesting conversation. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, so I have no idea how to answer that, and don't take any legal advice from me, trust me, because I ain't it. But in general, it's gonna be a really interesting case here, because guess what? If these guys lose, pretty much every crypto asset is going to be deemed a security. That's how it's gonna be. Now, the complaint filed in the U.S. District's Court of District, whatever, New York charges defendants with violating the registration, and that was it. Okay, so this is the news piece that sent the world spiraling when they came to LUNC and UST and all that kind of stuff. We're seeing LUNC down 4%. I think most of the crypto market's down though honestly, I don't think people cared. This is interesting. I don't think people actually cared about this news. SHIB is down 4.7%. Luna is down, 5.9%. It's down a little bit more. Remember the marketing cap is lower, so it might be a little bit more volatile. I don't actually think people really cared. I'm gonna be 100% with you. I mean, this is the first time the SEC goes after someone. And I mean, the SEC news is pretty baked in. This has been a thing for a while. Related materials, SEC complaint. Okay, so this is the actual trial here in May 2020. Okay, so this goes way for. I have to read this to be able to give you guys more content on this, might actually have the details on it all. But in the long run, Luna value is actionable grows. As the ecosystem grows as a holder of the moon, you have three choices. Sit back and watch me kick ass, take profits and buy unvaluable assets. Or you can roll up your sleeves and build cool shit, which is interesting. Okay, as defendants engaged and touted these efforts, the market price of loot increased from $1 in early 2021 to a high of around $119 in April 2022. They've got Rap Luna over here. Tim crypto assets. Like us, this is for the Rap Luna fam. They've got information on there as well. This is a really interesting case. I've gotta read through this more. I'll make another update probably in the future. In regards to this in general, I've got a couple of, friends in the business, so they might know a little bit more, but let me know your thoughts on the comment section in regards to all this. It's very big news for Terra Luna Classic, cause we're in the news again, but as we stay safe, and that's all.